well over 20,000 people in DeKalb County, Georgia for Vice President Kamala Harris. You see the crowd fired up there, and the crowd was especially fired up when former President Barack Obama passed the torch to Vice President Kamala Harris. Watch this incredible moment. Let's play it. Just take a look, too, of this image 17 years apart. Vice President Kamala Harris there on the left. You see former President Barack Obama, then President Obama, and take a look at them there today. And in a throwback to President Barack Obama, Vice President Kamala Harris led the crowd in that chant, "Yes, we can." Take a look.
And make no mistake, we will win. We will win. We will win. Or as a certain former president would say, yes, we can.
Vice President Kamala Harris also talked about what her closing message is. She's got a to-do list, how she wants to help the American people while Donald Trump will be stewing over his enemies list. A brilliant closing message. Play this clip.
So, America, there is a huge contrast in this election. Just imagine the Oval Office in 3 months. Picture it in your mind. It is either, but there's a choice that everybody has. So let's imagine it for a moment. It's either Donald Trump in there stewing over his enemies list, or me working for you, checking off my to-do list. You have the power to make that decision. It is your power. It is your power.
And it's clearly a closing message that is resonating because with each stop Vice President Kamala Harris is going on, she's picking up bigger crowds while Donald Trump is losing his audience at his crowds, and crowds are leaving and humiliating him in the middle of his speeches. Here, take a look right here of a video that Vice President Kamala Harris put out. Here are the rallies that she's led and Donald Trump has, well, I guess, been a part of in the past 24 hours. Let's take a look. Going back to Vice President Kamala Harris's speech in DeKalb, here she talks about how Donald Trump was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Play this clip.
And unlike Donald Trump, who had $400 million served to him on a silver platter and still managed to file for bankruptcy 6 times, he talks about being a good businessman. Come on. Unlike him, I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood with a working mother who kept a strict budget and did everything she could to make sure my sister and I had all that we needed.
Vice President Kamala Harris talks about her background and how she is uniquely qualified to prosecute felons like Donald Trump. Play the clip.
So, Atlanta, before I was Vice President of the United States, before I was a United States Senator, and before that, a 2-term Attorney General for the state of California. And before that, a district attorney and a courtroom prosecutor. And in those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds: predators, fraudsters, and repeat offenders. I took them on, and I won. Well, Georgia, in 12 days, it's Donald Trump's turn.
Today's episode is brought to you by Ollie, clean, fresh nutrition your dog needs in 5 flavors they'll absolutely flip over. Feeding your dog real whole foods with minimal processing is one of the best choices you can make for their health. A whole, fresh food diet has been proven to extend your dog's life by 2.5 years. Who wouldn't want more time with their best friend? Ollie's recipes have no harmful fillers, no preservatives, and are made in U.S. kitchens with ingredients sourced from trusted growers and producers around the world. And because Ollie's meals are gently cooked, they don't need preservatives. It's fresh, real food. With protein-first recipes like fresh beef with sweet potatoes, fresh turkey with blueberries, and fresh lamb with cranberries, Ollie might just have your dog eating better than you. Here's how it works. Take a 30-second quiz about your dog on Ollie's website, and they'll create a customized meal plan based on your dog's specific needs. Ollie then sends your dog starter box with 2 weeks worth of meals, plus a guide on how to transition them over. You could even choose from 3 meal plans to fit your dog's diet. And can I be real with you for a second? My dog Mochi is the best. She's the sweetest, most playful, loving Shih Tzu in the world. She's also one of the most stubborn eaters in the world. And if the food I give her isn't up to her standards, she lets me know. So anytime I introduce something new to her, it's the ultimate test. Since I've been giving her Ollie, she's been licking the bowl clean. I've been giving her the chicken dish with carrots and the lamb with cranberries, and she absolutely loves it. And right now, Ollie is offering an amazing deal, 60% off your first box of meals when you subscribe. Just head to Ollie.com, tell them about your dog, and use the code Meidas to get 60% off your first box. That's OLLIE.com, promo code Meidas, MEIDAS. They even offer a clean bowl guarantee, so if you're not satisfied, you get your money back.
Vice President Kamala Harris talks about the stakes. Play the clip.
So listen, so much is on the line in this election, and this is not 2016 or 2020. The stakes are even higher because over the last years, and in particular the last 8 years, Donald Trump has become more confused, more unstable, and more angry. You see it every day. He has become increasingly unhinged. But last time, at least there were people around him who could control him. But do notice in this election, they're not with him this time. In fact, just this week, America heard from John Kelly, a retired 4-star Marine general who was Trump's White House chief of staff, who said that as president, Trump praised Hitler. Take a moment to think about what that means. That Trump said, quote, Hitler did some good things. And that Trump wished he had generals like Hitler's who would be loyal to Trump and not to America's Constitution. This is not 2016 and it is not 2020. Including because just a few months ago, the United States Supreme Court told the former president that he is effectively immune no matter what he does in the White House. Now just imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails. He who will claim unchecked and extreme power if he is reelected, who has vowed that he will be a dictator on day one, who calls Americans who disagree with him, I'm going to quote, the enemy from within. You know what that harkens back to? He's calling Americans the enemy within, who says that he would use the military to go after them. And he who has called for the, quote, termination of the Constitution of the United States. Let us be very clear. Someone who suggests we should terminate the Constitution of the United States of America should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States of America. Never again. Never again. We're not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back. We're not going back.
Vice President Kamala Harris then talks about the importance of restoring Roe v. Wade as the law of the land. Play this clip.
He refuses to even acknowledge the pain and the suffering he has caused. He insists that, quote, everybody wanted for Roe versus Wade to be overturned, which is just a further example of how out of touch the man is. Everybody wanted this. Women are being denied care during miscarriages, some only being treated once they develop sepsis. They didn't want this. Couples just trying to grow their family have been cut off in the middle of IVF treatments. They didn't want this. Women have died because of these bans, including a young mother of a 6-year-old son right here in Georgia. Her family is here with us tonight, and we speak her name, Amber Nicole Thurman. And you all have heard me say, look, I do believe Donald Trump to be an unserious man. And the consequences of him ever being president again are brutally serious. These are just some of the consequences of the Trump abortion bans and what he does and what he's likely to do. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom nationwide, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law.
Before Vice President Kamala Harris spoke, you had former President Barack Obama. Here's what he had to say. You know, not a good thing in politics when you praise Hitler like Donald Trump does. Play this clip.
The other day, General John Kelly, Donald Trump's former chief of staff, said that Trump told him he wanted his generals to be like Hitler's generals. Now, don't boo, vote. Now, I want to explain that in politics, a good rule of thumb is don't say you want to do anything like Hitler. You know, that's just good political advice.
Former President Barack Obama talks about how Donald Trump was so ego-focused on everything. He had to have his name on checks to make it about him, not we the people. Here, play the clip.
You can't give him credit for that. And then I hear, the other thing I hear, some folks will be like, well, Donald Trump sent me a check during the pandemic. No, y'all know, because I've heard this. I know y'all, some of you heard that. Hey, let me make sure y'all understand this. Joe Biden sent you a check during the pandemic, just like I gave people relief during the Great Recession. The thing is, we didn't put our name on it because it wasn't about feeding our egos. It wasn't about advancing our politics. It was about helping people. That's the difference. Don't be giving them credit for that. Come on. He sent you a check. Do not fall for that okie doke. Don't be bamboozled. Don't get fooled.
And Obama talked about how more people, hundreds of thousands of people, potentially even more, would be alive if there was a competent administration when Donald Trump was in office. Play the clip.
And I'm going to give you another example. When I was president, we put together an entire playbook for how to deal with a pandemic, because we had dealt with Ebola, we had dealt with the H1N1 virus. We put together a plan, and we practiced, and we had all the agencies in terms of how you're going to deal with the schools and how we're going to do with the public health agencies. And we put it all together, and when Donald Trump came in, we gave him that playbook. And he, I guess, dropped it in the dustbin. 3 years later, a pandemic hit. And I want to be fair. Listen to me now. No matter who was president, the pandemic was going to be a huge crisis. People were going to get sick. People were going to die. Businesses were going to close. There'd be travel restrictions. It was a once-in-a-100-year event. But if you look at a country like Canada, the per capita death rate during COVID was 60% lower than it was here in the United States. So you do the math. Over 1 million people died during the pandemic here in the U.S. 60% of over 1 million, that's 600,000 people. That's grandparents. That's aunts. That's uncles, parents, co-workers, friends. Everybody here was touched by it. Some people might have been alive if we had had a competent administration who was paying attention and trying to do things better instead of talking about injecting bleach into your arm. Now, you remember that if somebody tells you, it doesn't make a difference. It will not make things perfect, but it does make a difference. To have somebody who is competent, somebody who sees you, somebody who respects you, somebody who cares about you, somebody who understands your dreams.
Another great speaker at this event in DeKalb, Tyler Perry, talked about his story. Here, play this clip.
I'm the kind of American who believes that poll workers should do their civic duty without being harassed and threatened like Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss in Fulton County. And I am not the kind of American that glories in, enjoys, laughs at, or celebrates an 80-year-old man being hit with a hammer because his wife is in politics and you don't agree with her. And two things can be true at once. I am not the kind of man that glory in, celebrates, enjoy, or laughs at a 78-year-old former president almost meeting his death at an assassin's bullet in Butler's, Pennsylvania. It's not right. It's about decency, America, and I think you agree with me. But I am the kind of American that believes if you lose an election, that you honor the constitutional, peaceful transfer of power. And judging by your reaction, I believe Kamala is right. We have more in common than what separates us.
Here, Tyler Perry also talks about how government should not control women's reproductive rights. Play the clip.
I'm the kind of man that believes, I'm the kind of man that believes that the government nor a man should be telling a woman what she can and cannot do with her body.
And here Tyler Perry talks about whether it's the Central Park 5 or Project 2025, Donald Trump. For Donald Trump, what his dream is American carnage, to hurt Americans, to kill Americans. Here, play the clip.
But I also believed in an American dream. And when I was coming here to Georgia, I was looking for inspiration, and there was this show called Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. And there was a man on there that I really admired, I looked up to. He had a helicopter, and his name was on hotels all over the place. He was, hold on just a second, let me get through this so you hear what I'm saying. Young black men admired him because his name was in rap lyrics. So when I first started making a little money, the first thing I did was checked into the Trump Hotel because I wanted to feel that specialness. But then I started to do my research. Research is important. Truth is important. Facts are important. I found out about a discrimination lawsuit against he and his father because they didn't want people like me in their building. I found out about him taking a full-page ad out on young black men in the New York Times. I found out about the birther lie. We all heard it, saying that Barack Obama was not born in this country. There are undertones there and there are echoes there that we all had to pay attention to. So I watched him when he won the presidency. I watched him say that there were good people on both sides when neo-Nazis were screaming, "Jews will not replace us." I watched him from the Central Park 5 to Project 2025. And what I realized is that in this Donald Trump America, there is no dream that looks like me. We want a president who believes that this American dream is for everyone. And that president is Kamala Harris.
Also, Senator Raphael Warnock gave a rousing speech, as he always does. He says that, who are we as people? That's one of the things that's going to be tested this election.
Here's the thing. We already know who Donald Trump is. That's not what this election is about. It's about who are we. I still believe that the American people at the end of the day are going to embrace that age-old American covenant, e pluribus unum, out of many one, because we know that we stand together, that we are connected, that we need each other, that we need our neighbors, that there are not enemies within. We may have differences of opinion.
Oh, and one of my other favorite parts of the speech, Samuel L. Jackson. Here's what he had to say. Let's play.
All right. They say you can always tell a Morehouse man, but you can't tell him much. But you can trust a Morehouse man to tell you the truth. Georgia, here's what we have to say to those who would doubt our voice, doubt our power, doubt our vote. This part is over. Like my brother Spike's gonna tell you, we've been turning out, we've been turning up, but we can't stop now. Georgia, we got 12 days to choose which way our country is gonna go from here, which way our future is gonna go from here. That's why I'm so fired up to be here with y'all. And that's why I'm so proud to support our next president of the United States, Kamala Harris.
I'm reminded as well of this post that I think is very prophetic of all of the elections we've seen since the insurrection from Connor Haffen. Take a look at what he said. He goes, you posted this, by the way, January 9th, 2021. I think the biggest problem with Republicans and the suburbs right now, and probably going forward, is that suburban voters hate weird shit. And things on the Republican side of the aisle, because of Trump, have gotten especially effing weird. Speaking about that, Donald Trump called into some News Nation town hall with J.D. Vance to say this. Play the clip.
And I do have a question, and I think it'll be quite an interesting one. The answer should be easy. How brilliant is Donald J. Trump?
And at Donald Trump's disastrous speech in Tempe, Arizona, Donald Trump said that America is a garbage can. That's Donald Trump's closing message. America is a garbage can. Play the clip.
Right, and we're a dumping ground. We're like a We're like a garbage can for the world. That's what's happened. That's what's happened to our... We're like a garbage can. You know, it's the first time I've ever said that. And every time I come up and talk about what they've done to our country, I get angrier and angrier. First time I've ever said garbage can, but you know what? It's a very accurate description.
Well, there you have it, folks. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Get to 4 million. Put in the comments below as well if you've helped people vote early. I want to hear your stories. Maybe you even have family members, friends, coworkers, colleagues, neighbors who are Republican, who voted early for Vice President Kamala Harris. I want to hear those stories as well. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe. Have a great one.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.